I've done videos sorting characters from different fictional universes into Hogwarts houses before. I did it for Twilight and Percy Jackson, and now I'm doing it again. This time for The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. It's no mystery among Mortal Instruments and Shadowhunters fans that Cassie Clare's Shadowhunters Chronicles was based on Harry Potter fanfiction, where she paired Hermione Granger with Draco Malfoy. So, I think it makes perfect sense for me to make a video combining two of my all-time favorite things into one video. So, let's sort some Mortal Instruments characters. I'm going to start with the most complex character from the books, Clary Frey, because truly, she could fit in any of the four houses. She's loyal and extremely compassionate toward downworlders and those she loves. She's fiercely brave and strong-willed. She's charismatic and displays a talent for leadership. And she's also extremely creative and a gifted artist. But I honestly think that she really belongs in Ravenclaw. This house values intelligence, wit, creativity, and open-mindedness, because from day one, Clary held no prejudices toward demon-blooded creatures and displayed herself to be very smart, having a very sophisticated vocabulary at only the age of 16. She's also very creative and curious. She, much like her mother, is an artist. She loves to paint, sculpt, and sketch, and she's known as the creator because of the angelic blood that runs through her veins, allowing her to create and modify various angelic runes, and this creativity has allowed her to help her friends more than once, such as giving Alec the courage to come out to his family and protecting Simon by drawing the mark of Cain on his forehead. So, she should be in the house of blue and bronze. Next, Jace Herondale. Jace, much like Clary, is a highly complex character, but I believe he belongs in Gryffindor, though I'm going to be honest and admit that I thought about putting him in Slytherin, because he is based on Draco Malfoy. He displays a talent for leadership and is very cocky and arrogant, but he's also extremely brave and daring. The entire series focuses on how brave he is and how he constantly worries he's becoming more and more like Valentine. But he displays that he's nothing like his adoptive father in that he rebelliously stands against Valentine and recklessly rushes into battle without a second thought. Not to mention, he's described to be leonine, with his gold eyes and pale blonde hair, which result from the pure angel blood coursing through him. He's also extremely chivalrous and has a capacity for kindness and compassion for those who are less fortunate. He went out of his way to rescue Clary after a Ravener demon attacked her, and he also saved Simon's life by feeding Simon his pure angel blood when Valentine nearly murdered the latter. He also displays a lot of nerve when standing up against Valentine, Lilith, and Sebastian. So I truly believe that even though Jace's Harry Potter counterpart is a Slytherin, Jace belongs with the Lions in Gryffindor. Next, we have Simon Lewis. Simon is Clary's best friend, who has loyally stood by her from the very beginning. He values hard work and is much more in touch with his humanity than most vampires throughout the course of the Mortal Instruments, vowing only to drink animal blood and feeling extreme guilt and remorse for killing Maureen Brown. He is described as honest, dependable, stable, and safe, always being there for Clary and remaining loyal to his Jewish faith. So, because of all this, I think Simon belongs in Hufflepuff, because he's so unassuming and easily underestimated, but he will lay down his life for you and always stand by you. After Simon, we have Alec Lightwood, Jace's parabatai, best friend, and adoptive brother. Much like Jace, Alec is very complex, but the most significant factor in his character arc is his bravery and how he gets braver as time passes. He starts off scared, insecure, and closeted and grows to be a very brave, outspoken, compassionate leader who learns to stop being afraid of what others think about him. He displayed great nerve when he kissed Magnus in front of everyone at the Accords Hall when he drew his alliance rune on Magnus, and he also bravely killed a greater demon that fed on people's dreams and made him and his friends see what they wanted wanted most. So I think it's safe to say that Alec belongs in Gryffindor. He also belongs in Gryffindor because he has a strong sense of honor, and he also displays chivalry toward Clary when he heals her broken ankle and comforts her, assuring her that all Jace ever wants is her. He also displays a sense of justice by adopting his two children, Max and Raphael, and he's willing to care for the weak and vulnerable. So Alec is a solid choice to wear the scarlet and gold. Now we've got Isabel Lightwood, Alec's little sister and the closest girlfriend of Clary, and I decided that she belongs in Slytherin. She displays great cunningness and resourcefulness in that she's often used as a distraction. We see her lure the demon into the storage closet by flirting with him before lashing out with her whip, and she's described as a heartbreaker by any boy she interacts with, because she's the type to rip your heart out and walk all over it in 10-inch high-heeled boots. She also kept her mother's secret about Robert's affair, which led to her having a very closed-minded viewpoint towards dating and boys in general, growing comfortable with just using them to get what she wanted. She also displays great skill in leadership, often mediating between Jace and Alec whenever they get into arguments, and she sees it as her responsibility to take over a lot of the womanly responsibilities while her mother and father are away on clave meetings. So I think it's safe to say I see Izzy in the green and silver. After Izzy, we have Magnus Bane, and I've debated between placing Magnus in either Slytherin or Ravenclaw, but after really thinking about it, I decided that he'd fit better in the green and silver. Yes, he's extremely intelligent and knowledgeable and has a lot of wit, but he's also displayed tremendous self-preservation, cunningness, and leadership, acting as a father figure to many downworlders and often using his charm and silver tongue to get the things he wants. While he's not evil like his father Asmodeus, he does whatever it takes to survive, and he's filled with determination and is a very ambitious individual who rose to the top as the High Warlock of Brooklyn. So that's why Magnus is a natural choice for Slytherin. Maya Roberts. I believe that Maya also belongs in Slytherin. She displayed great resourcefulness after running away from her home in New Jersey and doing whatever it took to survive after she got turned into a werewolf. She also displayed great talent for leadership when she took over as head of the New York Wolf Pack. She also displayed a bit of prejudice and closed-mindedness against beautiful boys, which is understandable considering her first boyfriend scratched and changed her, and her older brother was a natural-born psychopath who got pleasure from breaking her arm and causing her harm. So I believe that Maya would don the green and silver very well. Luke Garraway. I was torn between putting Luke in either Hufflepuff or Slytherin, because he has a talent for leadership in that he is the werewolf representative on the Downworlder cabinet, and he successfully killed the previous New York Pack Alpha. But looking a little closer, I think Luke belongs better in Hufflepuff, because while he may be a leader, the biggest factor of his character is he's extremely loyal, willingly following Jocelyn all the way to New York and helping her raise Clary, eventually becoming her stepfather. And he also takes the form of a wolf, which is, by nature, connected to dogs, man's best friend, and he's incredibly patient, having waited for Jocelyn even though she was convinced she was in love with Valentine, and he displayed great patience when raising Clary, who isn't the easiest person to handle. Clary even makes a joke about this in the City of Bones, where she asks him if he'll stick his head out the window and pant, and Luke tells her,
"I'm a werewolf, not a golden retriever."
So, I think it's safe to say that Luke is a clear choice to be in yellow and black. Jocelyn Frey. I think Jocelyn belongs in Slytherin. She displays a lot of stubbornness, which draws Valentine to her right away. She also displays great cunningness and resourcefulness when she steals the mortal cup and hides it away, determined not to allow Valentine to use it to carry out his evil goals. Her cunningness also shows due to her having blocked Clary's memories of the Shadow World for years, paying Magnus Bane a substantial amount of money to perform the memory spell on her daughter. She was also at Valentine's side when the circle was formed, and she was drawn to the power that he carried. So, I think it's safe to say that Jocelyn is a tried and true Slytherin. Valentine Morgenstern. It's no question that Valentine belongs in Slytherin. He was extremely stubborn, discriminatory, racist, arrogant, abusive, and charismatic. He hated Downworlders because of the gifts they possessed that he didn't have, and he cunningly lied to Clary and Jace, claiming that they were brother and sister.
Finally, both my children together. My daughter and my son.
He also experimented with Downworlder blood to try to make himself more powerful, and he experimented on Jace, Clary, and Sebastian as babies. He also lured Luke into a trap, which led to Luke becoming sick with lycanthropy, which destroyed their parabatai bond, and he wasn't afraid to step all over everyone to get what he wanted. So, Valentine is a solid choice to wear the green and silver. Hodge Starkweather. I believe Hodge belongs in Ravenclaw. Even though he was a huge coward who hid behind influential people, he was always more comfortable around books than he was around humans. He had great knowledge and was very intelligent, and he served as the tutor for Jace, Izzy, and Alec and knew about Lake Lynn being the mortal mirror before anyone else did. So, Hodge belongs in the blue and bronze. Max Lightwood. I think Max belongs in Ravenclaw. He was a very curious little boy who trusted very easily and wore his heart on his sleeve, often having his nose tucked in a book, and he hated not being included in situations that his siblings were in, because he felt that he was genuinely ready to face battle and was enthused to learn. His first appearance being in City of Ashes, where he excitedly recounts to Jace how much he enjoyed Alicante and Idris and all the things that he learned. And he was also enthusiastic to interact with Clary and learn about the mundane world. He was extremely fascinated with the entire world and often fell asleep reading manga, and he was very observant, having been the first to notice that Sebastian wasn't meant to be trusted and that he'd been climbing the demon towers to deactivate them while everyone else turned a blind eye. So for me, Max is a clear choice for Ravenclaw. Jonathan Christopher / Sebastian Morgenstern. There's no denying that Sebastian belongs in Slytherin. He was charming, charismatic, cunning, resourceful, and ambitious. He had it in his head that he would create and darkened Shadowhunters by building his demonic version of the Mortal Cup and succeeded, displayed powerful leadership in Edom, and cunningly murdered Max Lightwood and wore a face that would make everyone believe he was someone he wasn't. He also struck an alliance with the Seeleys and used that alliance to find out that Clary was spying on him, and as a result brutally beat her and tried to rape her, only for Clary to fight back. So, I think Sebastian truly belongs in the green and silver. Raphael Santiago. I think Raphael belongs in Hufflepuff, because he has a sense of honor and always believes in paying his dues back to those whom he feels he owes. He displayed incredible loyalty to Simon by saving him, bringing him to the Institute and explaining that Simon's only chance was to become a vampire. He also willingly took a stake to the heart for Magnus at Sebastian's hands, as he greatly respected Magnus and had a lot of loyalty to him, seeing Magnus as almost like a father figure. So, it's safe to say that Raphael should be wearing the yellow and black. Jordan Kyle. I think Jordan is a natural candidate for Gryffindor. He displayed great daring and nerve when joining the Praetor Lupus after he was turned, and he was determined to right his wrongs by looking out for Simon and helping Downworlders in need. He also displayed great chivalry for those who didn't belong to a pack or a clan, and he died going back to the Praetor house like a hero, determined to save the members of the Praetor Lupus against Sebastian, who ultimately ended up killing him. So, Jordan truly belongs in the scarlet and gold. Aline Penhallow. I think Aline belongs in Hufflepuff. She displays little prejudice toward Downworlders and is a fiercely loyal individual who will fight for what she thinks is right. This is evident in her relationship with her wife, Helen Blackthorne, who was half Seelie and looked down upon by the Clave. She even willingly followed Helen all the way to Wrangle Island when she was exiled. She's a very loyal friend to Alec. Alec considers her one of his best friends because he always got along better with her due to her quiet nature and her sensitivity. And Aline even thanks him for giving her the courage to come out to her family and choosing to date Helen. So I think Aline truly belongs in Hufflepuff. Helen Blackthorne. Much like her wife Aline, I think Helen belongs in Hufflepuff. She's the eldest of 7 children, one of whom is her half-fairy brother, Mark, and she loves and cares for all her siblings, especially Julian, and even takes Emma Carstairs under her wing. After her father is turned into an undarkened slave, Helen takes responsibility for all her siblings and steps up as almost like a second mom to all of them. So I think Helen is the perfect candidate for Hufflepuff. Julian Blackthorne. I think Julian also belongs in Hufflepuff. Much like his older sister, Julian takes responsibility for caring for his younger siblings after his father is darkened, such as feeding baby Octavian and breaking up fights between Livy, Ty, and Drew when games of Monopoly got overheated. He also displayed great patience when dealing with his younger siblings and acted as a father-like figure to them in his brother Mark's absence. And he lets his choices be affected by his emotions because he's extremely empathetic and sensitive. So I think Julian deserves to wear the yellow and black. Emma Carstairs. Emma is a Gryffindor. It's as simple as that. She has personality traits from both Clary and Jace, and Clary even says Emma reminds her very much of Jace in that they both lost their parents and were raised by a surrogate family who helped them become better people. Emma is a fierce warrior, but she is also careless and reckless and will willingly jump into any battle if it means protecting those she thinks are weaker. This was displayed when she bravely volunteered to take up the mortal sword from Julian when she saw how much recounting the truth was hurting him, wanting to take on that burden. So, I think Emma would be best suited to wear the scarlet and gold. Tessa Gray. I think Tessa belongs in Ravenclaw. She is very fascinated by books and is often comforted by stories written by authors like Emily Bronte and Charles Dickens. And even when she debuts in The Infernal Devices, she proves herself to be very smart, often thinking outside the box and can get inside the mind of the individual that she shapeshifts into, leading to her having an even deeper understanding for individuals like Camille Pelcourt. She also values thinking critically, and she's highly imaginative and loves to dive into fictional stories. So I believe Tessa should wear the blue and bronze. Will Herondale. Will is a lot like Jace, given that he is Jace's great-great-great-grandfather. So I believe Will belongs in Gryffindor. He's fearless and a risk taker, and despite his outward arrogance, he's exceptionally chivalrous and full of nerve. And much like Jace, when he sees bravery in others, it draws him to them, which was what drew him to Tessa immediately. Yes, I know I put Tessa in Ravenclaw, but that doesn't negate that Will sees in her bravery that's worth admiring, and Will isn't afraid to stand up against those he feels are bullies. He fiercely defends Jem against Gabriel Lightwood's remarks about Jem's sickness, and he also fiercely respects Charlotte even though he doesn't always show it, such as when he displayed outrage at Charlotte being talked over during the Enclave meeting. So, I firmly believe that Will belongs in the scarlet and gold. Jem Carstairs. I think Jem is a natural choice for Hufflepuff. He often sees himself as Will's right hand when Will lacks self-preservation, and he is always there watching his parapetize back, even after he succumbs to his Yin-Fen addiction and becomes the silent brother we all know as Brother Zachariah. He also displayed tremendous patience with Tessa even after she fell in love with Will, and waited for her thousands of years until he was cured of the poison that had nearly killed him. After he was no longer a silent brother, Jem got together with Tessa and loyally stuck by her. So I believe Jem is a natural choice to wear the black and yellow, because the amount of patience and loyalty he showed to everyone is incredible to me. Charlotte Bronwell. I think Charlotte is a natural Slytherin. She displayed outstanding leadership running the London Institute during the Infernal Devices, which was set in the Victorian era and was a period where women weren't seen as fit to be leaders, let alone shadow hunters. She showed great self-preservation, charisma, and determination to be heard and respected as a leader at only the age of 23, something that made her husband and most other occupants of the Institute respect her, and that's a big part of why I respect her so much as a character. I love that she fights her hardest to defy the expectations of what a typical woman should be in the Victorian era. So I firmly believe Charlotte is a perfect candidate to wear the green and silver, and I mean that as a compliment. Henry Bronwell. Henry is a Ravenclaw, with no doubt. He's extremely creative with his inventions, even though they don't always work out. But he thinks outside the box with all of his projects and is very fascinated by Tessa and her gift. He's also a naturally curious individual who loves art and science, and given that his ancestor is Clary Frey, who has natural curiosity and artistic talent, it's easy to see where the Fairchilds got their determination and creativity from between both Henry and Charlotte. So, I think Henry is a clear choice for Ravenclaw. And finally, we have Jessamine Lovelace. Jessamine is a Slytherin, and I'm not just placing her here because I dislike her. There are plenty of characters that I love on this list whom I put in Slytherin because of their ambitious and charismatic attributes. But Jessamine is one character whom I don't like at all. She's extremely whiny and vain and self-centered, and she values materialistic things like marrying a man for money. She even says her main aspiration is to become a housewife to a wealthy, mundane man and be what she believes a lady should be. And she resents and is prejudiced towards Charlotte because Charlotte doesn't act like a typical lady. She's also extraordinarily closed-minded and displays a lot of self-preservation, such as when she beats the crap out of a downworlder right in front of Tessa, and she was willing to use Tessa to try and blend in with mundanes. So, I believe Jessamine is a natural choice for Slytherin. She deserves to wear the green and silver. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you're brand new, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell for all notifications. Also be sure to leave a like and comment down below. All links will be down below in the description per usual. God bless, happy viewing, and have a nice day. See ya!